Hi guys, welcome back to another Q4FY25 video, and in this video we'll be covering two companies. One is Jeena Sikho and the other one is Jash Engineering, or maybe I'll just cover one video, I do not know. Depends on how my energy levels are throughout the video. It would be, you'll get to know from the title of the video. I've been in Missouri, right, and it's just horrible in terms of like food. I've had like the worst food poisoning over here, and the last 2 days has been like absolutely terrible. I've been just puking. I've had fever yesterday. Because of the food poisoning, it got aggravated, so that's the thing. So I'm literally not at the top of my energy levels. So yeah, I just can't wait to go back home. Anyways, let's start today's video. So by the way, for Jeena Sikho, again, if you guys want to understand the business model in depth, head over to my business channel. Head over to my YouTube channel. Go to the business analysis playlist. You'll find there that I've covered the model in depth. Okay. So for now, let us understand what Jeena Sikho has done, if it has walked the talk for this year, whatever they promised last year, and how does the upcoming year, that is FY26, look like. Okay. So first of all, if you look at Jeena Sikho, they are a company which they're a hospital chain basically, but unlike your traditional hospital chains that they have, which is catering to allopathy medicines, this is purely in terms of Ayurvedic and getting your lifestyle right in a way. Okay. And earlier, if you see, they had two how do I put this, two segments to the business. One is the hospitals, daycare and clinic, and the other is the OTC product, which is the over the counter products जो बोलते हैं आपको medicines जो मिलता है, that is one. ठीक है. Earlier, if you see, this over the counter was a huge part, 54% था, but now it has been a little bit tilted. You'll see that the hospitals, daycare and clinics, that is a huge contributor to the revenue compared to the OTC or the product range that is there. ठीक है. Now first thing, if you look at them at the end of FY24, that is H2 का FY24, you see that those people, these people, the founder Acharya Manish told, they guided for a 450 crore in terms of sales for this year, and they targeted a 25% kind of PAT margin. So अगर आप 450 crore का sale लेते हो, 25% का PAT margin, the PAT falls somewhere roughly between 100 to 110 crores, 112 crores I believe to be precise. ठीक है. So this was the target, and to add 500 beds throughout the year. ठीक है. That is for the entire FY25. Now when you look at FY25, the result has been spectacular to say the least. ठीक है. Because target किया था 450 crore, but they did 469 crore, so that is roughly a 44% in terms of sales growth. In terms of profitability, a little bit has been a miss in terms of profitability, because profitability ka target was around 100 to 112 crore. They did 90 crore, and the profits grew by 31% in that range. So yes, the company did miss out a little bit on operating leverage. Third thing, in terms of PAT margin ka target tha 25%, but they did PAT margin of 19%. ठीक है. Last year का PAT margin था 21%. ठीक है. EBITDA margin also on the same time. EBITDA margin this time was around 27%. Last time का EBITDA margin was around 29%. So you will see, in terms of profitability metric, although the sales growth has been fantastic, management has overdone whatever the expectation, whatever the guidance is there. On the other hand, you see that the profitability, the margins, both in terms of PAT as well as EBITDA margin, has been a little bit of a slight miss. So why did this happen? It comes back to the first point that we told, where in terms the bed addition that is there, the bed addition kitna tha, target tha 500 beds. FY24 के end में they had 1273 beds. ठीक है. 1273 beds था, and the target was to add 500 beds. But as of this March that you see now, they've actually added 2175 beds. बोला कितना था? 500 bed. किया कितना? So if they 1273 का base में, if you're adding 500 beds, the bed addition should be कितना? 1700 beds. But how many they've added? 2175 beds as of now, as we're speaking right now. So that is roughly 800 bed का addition हुआ है. ठीक है. So why did this 800, I think 873 beds का addition? But here is the thing, you will see in the PPT में आप देख सकते हो 1600 beds लिखा है, not 2175 beds. So why is that? Because ये जो the difference that you see, con call में बोला 2175 beds and PPT में लिखा है 1600 beds, is because the last 500 beds were added in the month of March, around that time. ठीक है. सारा का सारा March का, I think in the last 2 weeks it were added, and because of this, because they added it in March, and by the end of the financial year they didn't get all these permissions, right? It's not just about adding beds. you have to get approved by certain government regulatories. That didn't come through, it took some time. As a result, that is why they didn't tell in the PPT 2175 bola 1600 beds, but they've already got the approval right now and it will start operational. ठीक है, so this is one thing. So इतना bed addition किया, बोला था 500 किया, 800 almost 873 beds. Now because of इतना bed addition किया ना, obviously आपका rental cost is upfront, आपका maintenance is upfront, आपका depreciation is upfront, आपका employee cost is upfront, medicine cost is upfront. So because of this, because of this upfront capex that is there, that is why you see that the margins that are there are impacted. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा impact हुआ है, and this is a temporary thing. See, always over here margins, you need to ask yourself why is it affected. ठीक है, if it is something due to a structural change and there is no visibility in terms of margins getting better, then it becomes a problem. But this जो क्योंकि capex कर रहा है, it is a one time thing, it is a temporary thing. Although I do understand that leverage थोड़ा सा miss हुआ, it is not a bad thing, because whatever they told in terms of bed addition and sales growth, they have overdone it. So it's not really a dampener to the result, or I do not also understand there was a knee-jerk reaction on the day the result came. I believe the stock was down 12% is because of the same thing. Like, people do not understand, like margins always falling is not a bad thing. That certain times like this, ये temporary है, ठीक है. Other than that, अगर आप देखते हो ना, if you look at their bed addition हो गई, if you look at their occupancy is very strong at 53%. वही बोला था 50% पे लेके जाएगा, वही किया. ARPOB is at 8,200. Last time it was I think around 7,000 range. This time it is 8,200. So both volume growth भी है, value growth भी है, ठीक है. And always keep telling you guys, if you've seen the last videos I've done of Jeena Sikho, always, it doesn't matter if you guys are invested here or not invested here, but make sure you listen to the con call. Don't read Jeena Sikho ka con call. Make sure you listen to the con call, okay, of at least the last 3 quarters या last 3 con calls जो है, listen to it, because see, whenever I hear so many con calls, right? Because whenever most of the time con call is done by a CEO or a CFO or some management. Ultimately, everybody is an employee, so they're very careful about the words that they use, right? Because it can backfire on them. But this guy is a founder of the company, right? And he literally speaks his heart out. He doesn't care who's on the con call, koi hai. He will just speak his heart out, and I can understand him. Uska passion jo hai na dikhta hai, because I run a business. I can't, like right now when I'm talking to you guys, I don't have a script, so जो मुंह में आता है मैं बोल देती हूँ. Sometimes you will see मैं गाली गलौज करती हूँ इसमें भी, ठीक है. So I can literally understand, like from where he's coming from. It's just beautiful, to listen to him, his passion, and he's so honest over here. Like it's just so funny. Also the con call, you will also laugh, ठीक है, the way he talks. The other reason also over here, like we were talking about the PAT margin being a little bit affected, is he also told कि like ये जो इंडिया पाकिस्तान का वॉर जो हो रहा था, ठीक है, 4 days he didn't have business apparently. Somebody was asking about guidance and he's like, see, I can guide all I want, पर what is that, God का कृपा है. मेरा business में तो 4 दिन लंका लग गया था due to India Pakistan war. So if that doesn't happen, everything will go all goody. So that is the thing. He literally used those words, lanka lag gaya. So that is the thing. It's really nice, really refreshing to hear a con call to be that honest, ठीक है. But other than that, see, this is for the entire FY25 year and it has been stunning, ठीक है. Now let us look at FY26, because that is what is more important ना, कि like आगे जाके अगर आप देखते हो, how does it look like? Now FY26, if you look, they are guiding for a 720 crore in sale, ठीक है. And how are they able to do this 720 crore in sale? So इस बार किया 469, so 469, 44% का sales growth. Next year they're targeting 720 crores in sales, which is almost roughly 50% in terms of so pace of growth जो है बड़ा है, you can tell the pace of growth has increased for FY26. So how are they targeting the 720 crore? Where will this revenue come from, ठीक है? What is the plan? How do they plan to achieve it? One is due to bed addition, ठीक है. Like I told you, as of March 31st, if you look at it, 1600 beds था, ठीक है. And कितना add कर रहे हैं? 3000 beds. They're planning to add 3000 beds. That is literally double the bed capacity. But if you look at it, ठीक है, if you consider it, according to the con call, 2175 beds. Like I told you, 500 bed, they couldn't write it in the PPT because उनको वो it didn't pass through the guidelines and everything. It got delayed now. So 2100 भी अगर आप base लेते हो, 2100 से 3000 पे अगर आप लेते हो, that is roughly another 50% in terms of bed addition. So all of this thing is going to come by how पूरा का पूरा volume growth आने वाले हैं यहाँ पे. So excellent thing over here, ठीक है. Other than that, if you look, they are also planning to increase the price. जो भी उनका, like if you look at hospitals ना, there are certain bigger hospital and smaller hospital. जो बड़ा hospital है, there they want to increase the price a little bit more, be a bit more premium over there. So यहाँ से भी थोड़ा value growth भी आएगा. So both volume growth is there, value growth is there, and because of this, you will see that the sales growth will reach probably 700-720 crore, ठीक है. And not just that, not just this 720 crore. उन्होंने बोला था कि like last time April 24 में the per month का sale was 30 crore, and this time in April 25 as we are right now in Q1, the sales is around 70 crore, ठीक है. So I think 60 crore is 70 crore. The problem with this Conquala is he speaks in Hindi, right? So I don't understand some, like I can understand Hindi, but the numbers that are there, like I can understand 1 to 10, but 27, 22 and all when he tells, I don't understand. So April, I think he did either 60 or 70 crore. Either way, it is double. So let's say अगर आप run rate देखते हो, April is 60 crore, 60 crore का मैं अगर लेती हूँ, 27 he told, I don't know what he told, 60 or 70 crore बोला था, and 60 crore भी लेते हो, that is, you can reach that, you know, 70 into 10, 700 plus another 2 you take, आराम से you can reach, right? So overall, no problem in terms of execution. I think it's going to go hunky dory even for this year, ठीक है. Other than that, उनको और जो दो तीन चीज का अपडेट है, one is the OTC, ठीक है. Over the counter में they were supposed to get new products, you know, and launch, you know, they were supposed to launch throughout India. पहले they wanted to start with few states and then they wanted to launch, but this has taken a little bit of backseat. It is not like, you know, they're not going to focus on this. They're going to take a little bit of backseat because ये जो आयुष्मान का, you know, whatever the guidelines that is there has been a change in guidelines. Now they have to adhere these new medicines to the guidelines. So all of it is ready, but you know that they decided ki like, you know, right now let us focus on the hospital, daycare and clinic business. We can always focus on that later. So that is another thing. Other than that, they've also introduced this new product called as alkaline water something, you know, where, you know, it's a machine, it converts the water, you know, your normal water to alkaline water. And he was also telling about this is a new product in this OTC ka category, where he makes it probably for like 1500 or 2000, but sells it for 15,000 rupees. And in the first month itself, you know, they have done 1.5 crore in this sale, okay? So overall, great business update, nothing to worry. Another thing regarding this bed addition that is there, where they're planning to take to 3,000 beds by FY26 ka end, you know, March FY26 ka end. This bed addition is going to come, not like if you see right now, Jeena, Sikho, they're either putting up a greenfield. Yeah, so they're either going and acquiring the companies, you know, they're doing like this. But anymore, what they're going to do is, they're going to convert this, you know, whatever the educational facilities that are there. Basically, आपका जो colleges जो है, Ayurvedic colleges and everything, right? Now, these colleges that are there, you know, they are mostly not working that great, right? So what they're going to do is they're converting this colleges में जो bed है, ambulance है, to a fully fledged hospital. And यहाँ पे और एक चीज का benefit है. Earlier, if you look, they have to get some doctors, they have to train them according to Jeena, Sikho. Here already you have these medical, you know, they're getting trained in the colleges. It is going to be easy. And other thing, what happens, you don't have to go search for doctors now for your new facilities, because already there are 100 students. Out of this, there are 20 people, you know, who are good. Immediately give them an offer, they will join your company. Even in this, he told, मुझे मालूम है 100 students होंगे, उसमें 20 हीरा होगा, उस 20 हीरे को मैं ले लूंगा. It's very nice con call, you guys should listen to it, ठीक है? So that's that. Other than that, you know, थोड़ा चीज है which is in terms of receivables जो है, I believe you can see that the receivables on the year-on-year basis, it has increased a lot, okay? But over here also, you know, there is a reason, because recently, if you see, government has admitted this, you know, this Ayurvedic treatment also into that CGHS and, you know, all of their board, right? Even now you can claim a cashless treatment, you know, under the government scheme. Now यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है, because that scheme, you know, the government part of the patient that comes over there, it has become more, because of that receivable has increased. Even here also, Acharya Manish has told कि like, you know, आगे जाके, you know, this we are getting it down, because इनका जो, you know, the payment cycle is there, it is ranging from 6 to 9 months. It becomes very difficult for us. And he's already told, you know, कि like, you know, he's apparently told that board कि like भाई तू पहला पैसा दे, give the payment first जो already treatment किया, after that only I'll give business to you. Okay, and they've apparently collected a lot of the receivables that is there also. So going forward, again, it shouldn't be a problem problem because they're consciously reducing the the patients that is coming from the government scheme. That is it. ठीक है. So overall great, nothing to worry. Great pace of growth बढ़ने वाला है. Bed capacity का addition जो है because FY25 का sales growth था 44%. According to the guidance, if they're able to execute, FY26 का guidance is 53%. Similarly, FY25 में add किया, the guidance was to add 500 beds. यहाँ पे they're telling they will add, like almost double the bed capacity, or at least 50% in terms of bed capacity. So overall, great set of numbers. Nothing to worry. Just the last thing in terms of valuation, because if you look at the market cap of Jeena ka market cap is around 5,200 crore. If I take a PAT margin ranging between 19%, which is as of this year, to let's say 25%, the best case scenario, या बीच में आप लो, PAT margin is somewhere to be 21%. So three cases: 19% का PAT margin, 21% का PAT margin, and 25% का PAT margin. Sales growth is 720 crores. If I take that, the PAT can range somewhere between 136 crore to 180 crore. So the 1 year forward PE ranges between 28.3 to 37.5. Okay, I wish I could do this on the screen, but unfortunately the internet over here in this hilly areas is absolutely whack, and I won't be able to share the screen. The entire video could be distorted. Okay, you can see, right, the power keeps coming and going over here also, like you can see the lights over there fluctuating. So that is the thing. So 1 year forward P ranges somewhere between 37 to 28. I believe 37 or 35 P is appropriate over here, because 25% PAT margin, considering the amount of bed capacity that is going to come up, I think it could be a bit tough. That is my understanding. So I would say 19 to 21 or 23% का PAT margin could be more appropriate. So that is roughly around 35 to 37 का PE for a 53% का growth engine. Same time last year, if I remember, FY24 का end में it was a 40-45% का sales growth engine at a 25 to 28 का PE. अभी है 50-53% का sales growth engine at a PE of 33 to 35, in that range. ठीक है. So up to y'all do the whether it is cheap or expensive का thing. The second business that we are going to be doing is Jash engineering. ठीक है. अगर आप Jash engineering का देखते हो, they do a lot of this engineering products. Okay, it could be related to this dams and your water valves and everything. ठीक है. इनका एक अलग ही तरह का business model है थोड़ा, because they had a business in India, and then what they did was, they went and acquired a lot of this international businesses such as Rodney Hunt, जो US का एक company है, Shivpad, a lot of these businesses, जो 5 to 6 businesses they acquired. ठीक है. They did so in order to establish their presence in the international waters. ठीक है. That is one thing. So अगर आप अभी इसका business देखते हो, इंडिया में they get around 35% का business, 40% of the business comes from US, and the rest comes from from other parts of the world such as Europe, Australia, United Arab Emirates, and so forth and so on. ठीक है. इनका भी यही सीन है कि like if you look at the starting of the year FY25 में they guided for a 30% kind of sales growth, but if you look at this year, they did sales growth है 43%. ठीक है. So overly well, great numbers. PAT grew by 30%. थोड़ा EBITDA margin में same thing over here miss हुआ. EBITDA margin as of this year is 18.5 versus 20.1 last year. So why did this operating leverage become a miss? Why did this EBITDA margin become a miss? Is because, like I told you, they have acquired this one company called as Rodney Hunt in the US. ठीक है. Now यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? They had this project. They in this from this Rodney Hunt का company से they had a project in Kansas City. ठीक है. And here this project is getting delayed a lot, not because of because the problem here is there is no manpower. They are not able to find any people who is doing this job. As a result, the project is getting delayed. यहाँ पे execution का बहुत delay हो रहा है. That has impacted the margin a little bit and profitability also. ठीक है. Similarly, इनका Rodney Hunt में एक बड़ा सा capex होने वाले. This is I think around 400,000 4 लाख I think square feet का capacity है. Somewhere around that range if I'm not wrong. ठीक है. 400,000 का square feet का capacity है. But here also the problem is, they will not be able to reach a full-fledged in terms of capex over here, capacity over here, is because again of the same reason, because ये Orange जो county है, which is a city in the US, there are no people over here, where you can come, people would come and work. ठीक है. All the people that are there are, hardly 60 to 70 years old. That is the average age. So they have to move, now find a new plant and move to Houston, in order to reach a certain level of capacity. So going forward also there is a possibility कि like ये जो EBITDA margin है could be a little bit constrained even for the next quarter because of the same reasons. Other than that, if you see very very important, every company that you analyze in this quarter is don't just look at Q4 में कितना अच्छा किया, ठीक है, Q4 में अच्छा कर सकता है बट आगे जाके बोल रहे हैं कि Q1 अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, आगे जाके गाइडेंस कम हो रहा है ना, you will suffer in that stock, you will suffer in that business. That is why मैं बोल रही हूँ, बार बार बोल रही हूँ, whichever company you want to invest, या आपका ऑलरेडी इन्वेस्टमेंट है, listen to the con call and make sure that the guidance is maintained for the upcoming year. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कुछ डिमांड का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अगर आप जश इंजीनियरिंग का देखते हो ना, सी 40% का सेल्स ग्रोथ किया, वेरी ग्रेट, वेरी नाइस, बट आगे जाके बोल रहे हैं इफ यू लुक एट देम राइट नाउ, आई बिलीव दे हैव अराउंड they did around 735 crores this year for this entire year, and they're telling next year को जो है they will be targeting 860 crore. That is literally 16%. पे इस साल का गाइडेंस कितना था? 30%. अगले साल का गाइडेंस कितना दे रहे हैं? 16%. गाइडेंस का लिटरली हाफ किया गया है, ठीक है. सो ऑब्वियसली यहाँ पे पेस ऑफ ग्रोथ घट रहा है. ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट EBITDA मार्जिन का भी that visibility is not that great because of this project and the capacity that is going to come up and everything, that is also there. So this seems to be यहाँ पे guidance is lowered over here. Pace of growth is coming down. It is not a great thing for the business, ठीक है. Not just this, उन्होंने I believe in Q1 of FY25 का कॉन कॉल में बोला था कि by FY28 they will reach 1000 crore in terms of the top line. FY25 में 735 करोड़, FY26 में 860 करोड़, 16% का ग्रोथ. अभी FY26 में 860 करोड़, FY28 में 1000 करोड़. डू यू सी आगे जाके पेस ऑफ ग्रोथ और भी कम होने वाले हैं. सो नेक्स्ट साल के लिए, इस साल 30% था, नेक्स्ट साल 16%, आगे जाके शायद 10 to 12% का ग्रोथ इंजन. डू यू सी कंटिन्यूसली पेस ऑफ ग्रोथ इज कमिंग डाउन एंड डाउन एंड डाउन. वेल एंड गुड if they can do over and above, but as of now where we stand, it isn't that great. The guidance is not that great and everything, and the problems that the company is facing. Do you see with one thing that is very common with both? One is Jeena, Sikho and Jash engineering. एक दोनों का भी EBITDA margins got impacted, दोनों का भी PAT operating leverage नहीं मिला. But do you see one, इसका operating leverage नहीं मिलना, इसका EBITDA margins भी थोड़ा घटना, is completely okay Jeena, Sikho का. Why? Because वो capacity कर रहे हैं वहाँ पे, that capex is going to get fruitful, it is a temporary thing. But यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो ना कि ये जो margins है, we do not know if it is going to come back up, when it will come back up, ठीक है. So that is why don't ever put anything in a blanket statement कि margins कम होना is a bad thing. Always question yourself कि क्यों margins नहीं मिला, क्यों यहाँ पे ये operating leverage miss हुआ. There lies the answer over here. Both the companies same case, दोनों का भी margins इधर उधर हुआ, but you see one में problem नहीं है, दूसरे में problem है, ठीक है. So this is why it is important. Everything that you see in the market, everything that you read, make sure you question, make sure you ask the right questions. The only way you will be able to analyze a company is when you ask the right questions. And if you want to know what kind of questions to ask, what to look for in any company that you analyze, make sure you get the investment checklist का workshop, ठीक है. I'll put the link in the description box below, ठीक है. The best thing you'll ever do, and analyzing the companies in Q4 or any upcoming quarters is going to be a cakewalk, is going to be a breeze, ठीक है. So that's that for this video. I will see you again in another video. I think I'll have to do Shakti Pumps and Gargi, PNGS Gargi, because that is literally the most requested video either in my comments or in my DMs. Yeah, so I think that would be the next video. That's that for today. Take care. Bye.